Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Ground to get real life topics from a biblical perspective. My name is Brian Boyd. Today's topic is patience. And everyone, as always, I hope you've been well, safe, and blessed throughout this weekend. Before we jump into this topic, please be sure to like and follow the Grounded Podcast or whatever platform you have to be listening on. And with that being said, y'all, let's jump into the topic of patience. And this is another thing that the Lord has been getting on me about over this past couple weeks of learning how to simply be patient with life and wait for some things to come, to take a step back and just relax. And when I look around and I think about it, I'm not the only person that struggles with stuff like this. And this is something that I've seen that's so prevalent in our world today, because we've really reached a point in time where everyone is starting to realize that they want more out of life, that they want to be more, and that everything that they want is within their reach. So you see a lot of people jumping out. They're starting businesses. They're getting into real estate. They're buying stocks. They're doing any and everything that they can to chase the bag and ultimately accomplish the goals that their heart desire. But on the opposite side of that, you also see the drawbacks of those things over time, because you see people, they start to get frustrated. They start to get impatient. They start to get irritated by the fact that their goals are not being accomplished in the times that they think they should be. Everything isn't coming to them in the space that they think that it should be coming in, and they're not coming definitely within the time span that they expected. And when it comes to those things in life, you just have to understand first and foremost that life, that's just the way it is. To simply put, because things aren't going to always come and things aren't going to always happen at the time that we happen to. And sometimes in life, while things may come faster than we expect, there may be times where we have to wait longer than we predicted in order to receive those same thing. And I want to talk with this from the perspective of Ecclesiastes 9 and 11. This is actually one of my favorite verses in the Bible, because it basically breaks down everything that we think we need to be successful in life. Sometimes we think we have to be fast in life. We have to be brave. We have to be wise. We have to be smart. And we have to be skillful in order to achieve all of our goals. But Solomon in this particular verse tells us that time and chance happens to everyone. Just because we may have all of these things, we may have all of the qualities that we need to be successful, doesn't mean that success is going to come to us as soon as it can. It doesn't mean that it's just going to happen overnight for us. Sometimes we have to use the skills that we have in the time that we're in and wait for that time and that opportunity to come. And with that being said, y'all, we're going to break down this verse, and I'm going to break down each and every one of these points. And to start that off, we're going to read Ecclesiastes 9 and 11, because it reads that I return and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happen to them all. And everyone, just to give you a quick perspective of this verse, once again, this is written by King Solomon, one of the wisest and richest kings on the face of the earth. If you've been watching Grounded for a while, you know I talk about Solomon a lot. And one of the things that's so interesting about this is, with Solomon being one of the wisest and richest men in the earth, even he understood that time and chance happens to people, that life isn't more so about what you have, but it's the time that the opportunities come to you that matters the most. And the first point that I want to really touch on here is that the race is not to the swift. And every time I read this particular part of the verse, I slightly get convicted by it, because to an extent, if you know anything about me, if you've been listening to Grounded for a while, you know that your boy is a pretty progressive person. I'm always talking about not being comfortable. I'm always telling you to go after the things that you want. And while those things are good, once again, because we're in that age of progression and becoming who we're meant to be, it comes at a large drawback, because the more energy that we put out there, the better chance it takes for us to get burnt out from the things that we're doing. And when we get burnt out, that can either occur from a physical sense, that our bodies can't literally keep up with the work that we're doing, or our minds will tend to fade away in the opposite sense. We'll get to a point where we start to get bored, we get complacent, and we get tired of the things that we're doing. And when we get tired of things, as part of human nature, our minds tend to wander somewhere else. Our minds tend to wander off of the things that we're supposed to be focusing on. And when that happens, both of those things will cause us or prevent us from achieving the things that we're supposed to do. And I'm here to tell you today, and I'm talking to myself once again, is that when it comes to these things in life, you have to take the time to just enjoy life as it is. Sometimes you have to take a step back. sometimes you may have to schedule time or schedule whole days where you just do nothing at all. You just sit back and relax outside of your regular work and just enjoy life for what it is. And I'm telling y'all this because this is something that happens quite often, man, because it's so easy to get burnt out. It's so easy to sit back and want to give up or not just do anything at all. But when those times come, understand that you may be one of those people that maybe suffer from this. You may be suffering from being burnt out. And when those times happen, don't force yourself to work. Take a day, take some hours and just sit down and relax. Read a book, take a walk, go to the beach or something. But whatever it is, whatever you decide to do, don't work on the stuff that you're supposed to do. And I know that sounds counterproductive. I know that sounds like we won't achieve your goals, but I'm telling you, it's better to do this now. It's better to take these few minutes or these couple days and relax than for you to get down the line and you break off of what you're supposed to be doing completely. And another thing that I want to talk about when it comes to life, you may be on the complete opposite end of this. You may be in your mind, you may be so confident, you may be so believing that you're going to achieve the things that you're going to do that you get down the line, you've made so much progress in such a fast state that you get comfortable with the progress that you've made. And because you've made that progress at such a fast rate, it may cause you to get comfortable in the situation that you're in. And that's exactly what happened in the story of the tortoise and the hare. It wasn't the fact that the rabbit was faster, but the rabbit decided to take a nap halfway through the race because it thought that the turtle would never catch up to it. And at the end of the story, as you all probably know, the tortoise ended up winning the race because the rabbit fell asleep and didn't wake up until the race was almost over. And that comes to the second part of this thing too, is that when it comes to life, yes, you may be overqualified. Yes, you may have everything. And yes, you may have made a lot of progress in a short amount of time. But when it comes to that, you have to keep going. You cannot allow yourself to get comfortable. And once again, if you keep going and you feel like you need to take a break, take a short break. But after that, get back on track and keep going. All right. Moving along, though, the second thing I want to talk about is it says that the battle is not for the strong. And this point here brings you to the thing that you can have everything in life. You may have all of the skills that you need to make it through. You may have everything that you feel like you need in order to win the race or the battle or the situation that you're in. But there's also a chance that you can end up losing. And we've seen this so many times. We've seen this in our popular culture all the time. We see it in sports. We see it in politics. We see it in the judicial system. And we even see it on a day-to-day basis. And one of the things that I think about where it says the battle isn't meant for the strong is I think about Mike Tyson. Back when he first lost against Buster Douglas back in the 90s, man. And that's something that nobody saw coming. If anybody grew up in that time, you knew that Mike Tyson just dominated the world at that time, and he was unbeatable. That's why they called him Iron Mike, because he was knocking world champions out in the first round. They weren't making it a minute in, and Buster Douglas beat him. All odds and everything against him, and he ended up winning in the 10th round. And when you look at recent history, right, I think about Golden State and Cleveland back in 2016, where they were down 3-1. LeBron, Kyrie, and them came all the way up and won the championship. I think about in that same year was the Patriots and the Falcons. They were down 21-7, and Brady came back in the fourth quarter and won the game. And that's something that we see all the time. It may seem like in life we may have everything. We may be prepared to accomplish everything, but we may not always get the results that we expect. We may not always win. And when it comes to that situation, you have to always understand and just be humble in it. And don't get overconfident. Don't get too cocky about the situation that you're in. You have to understand that, those things happen too. You may have everything that you may need to win the battle, but that may just not be your day. That just may not be your time. And you have to be able to get to a point to accept that you may not be ready. You may have everything that you need, but that may not be your time for you to succeed. Going on once again, though, the third point of this is neither yet, bread to the wise. And this is something here that kind of took me back for a second, but it makes a lot of sense because when you think about wisdom, especially in the biblical sense, this is applied knowledge. This means that not only can you tell people, not only are you aware of certain things, but you actually have the ability to go out there and make things happen. And in this sense, bread means literal bread. It means the food that we eat. And that basically says that the wise may not eat food. And when I think about this, I think about that old saying that if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And just because you have the ability to teach a man how to fish, just because you have the ability to fish for yourself, doesn't mean that you're going to have food. You have to go out there and take the opportunity to get your own food. You can not only know something, but you have to be able to do this. And I believe that is the literal extent of know yet bread to the wise. And when it comes to us in our day-to-day lives, we have to understand that not only do we have to know things, but we have to do those things in order to take care of our needs, in order to take care of our food. Because I can have a world of knowledge in my mind. I can know the secrets to the stock market. I can know the secrets to real estate and everything. But if I don't apply those things, if I don't actually go out there and do those things, I won't get the food that I need. All right. My bread, my table gonna be empty. And the family gonna be looking at me like, where the food at? The fourth thing that I want to touch on is that the Bible says the next point of this verse is nor yet riches to men of understanding. And this here kind of goes off of the last point as well, because just because you know things, just because you understand how stuff work, doesn't mean that you're going to make money off of that. And that kind of goes back to the very first point of life is not for the swift, because things take time to come up. Things take time to accumulate. And yes, you may know exactly how to get to where you want to be in life. Yes, you may know exactly how to make money, but those things take time to accumulate. It takes time to build up on those things. It takes time for you to get to where you need to be. And that comes back to, once again, of this race not being something that you run through, but something that you have to be patient in and just enjoy the process of life. And when I think about this as well, it makes me think about the way that stocks are going right now, because everyone is investing in stocks. You know, I've done just a little bit here or there too, but it makes me realize that just because you know what you're doing don't mean that the stuff is going to work out, because you can invest in the right place at the right time and it may drop tomorrow and you just out of money. But that's the thing about life. You may know how to invest in stocks, but the stock market itself is something that's unpredictable. And it's because it's unpredictable doesn't mean that we may or may not have the money that we think we're going to have. And with that being said, you know, we have to understand here all the time that yes, we may have the understanding. Yes, we may be able to know what to do and when to do it, but that doesn't always guarantee that we're going to be successful in the stuff that we're doing. And while I could use a lot more examples than just the stock market, I think that's the most relatable as we live in our current time right now with everyone investing so much. But with that being said, y'all, let's move on to the next point. I believe this is point number 5, and it says, nor yet favor to men of skill. And this is something that I personally, once again, had to come to terms with as well, because just because you're the most skillful person, or just because you may believe you have everything it takes to succeed, doesn't mean that you're going to succeed. It doesn't mean that you're going to be favored and chosen over people that may or may not be worse than you. And we see this in the corporate world all the time, man, because there are times where you've seen it, where people tend to be overqualified for certain positions, but most people in the corporate sense, they will take somebody that's less experienced if they fit into the culture a bit more, or if they like their personalities. This isn't like the times before where people would get picked just based on what they know. People get picked today based on who they are as well, because when it comes to those particular spaces, teams are everything, and you have to be able to mesh with the team and go into the work culture in order for you to be truly successful. And that's something that's pretty prevalent in technology. And we typically get a stigma for us in technology because people think that we're the most antisocial people in the world and we don't get along with people. Although, you know, that's something that is somewhat prevalent. It's also a stereotype, because some of the people I met in technology are some of the most amazing people that you will ever want to meet. But it comes back to that time of, once again, that sometimes they may not get picked for those particular positions, not because they don't have a skill set, but because they may not fit into what you would call the culture of the workplace. And coming on to a business sense, that may be the same thing. And when you look at it, you may have the most successful business out there in the world, but if you don't have good customer service, you will not have people come to you. People will go to people that are worse than you with better customer service than the person that can offer them everything that they want and more. And that just goes into the part of nature. Once again, just because you may be skilled at something doesn't mean that you're gonna have favor in the stuff that you're doing, because it has to be more than just what you're skillful at. It has to be who you are as a person, who you are as an individual. And that's something that you have to understand at the core point at the end of the day. It's not just what you do, but it's how you do it and who you are at the core. And last but not least, y'all, the last point of this, which ties up this whole message, is that time and chance happen to them all. And when you look at every single point in this particular context, you will see once again that all of these things talk about how the person that you would believe would win in life isn't the person that always win. It's time and chance, because yes, you can have everything in the world. Yes, you could be qualified. Yes, you could be fast. Yes, you could be brave. Yes, you could be wise. And yes, you may have understanding. You may know what you're doing. But the thing is, if you don't have the patience to wait for these opportunities to come sometime, you may miss out on them. And that's exactly what Solomon is saying. Yes, you may be qualified, but you have to be patient with life. And this is something that comes, and this is a harsh reality to take in, but it's something that a lot of people have to realize, myself included, because I've done a lot of stuff in life, y'all. Your boy has, I don't talk about my stuff all the time, I don't talk about my accomplishments, but your boy done lived a pretty decent life, man. And a lot of the stuff, happened because I kept going, I kept progressing, I kept trying to be the person that I envisioned myself being. But on the opposite side of that stuff too, there were some things in life I just had to wait for. Like, there's things I just could not rush. I could not rush my time in college. I could not rush the time in my career. And even when it comes to talking on grounded and all, I can't rush this process here. I can't rush the process of becoming a better speaker. I can't rush the process of becoming a better editor. I can't rush the process of becoming a better person. These are just things that happen over time. And honestly, this is one of the hardest realities where you have to come and face it, though, that everything comes through time. That there are some things in life that you just cannot force. No matter how hard you try, you have to wait. You have to be patient. And in the time while you're waiting for those things to come, you have to do everything that you can to keep growing and keep progressing in the space that you're in. And you do that because you know that the opportunity, not because you don't know the opportunity is not coming, but so that you could be better prepared for the opportunity when it finally presents itself. But with that being said, y'all, that's pretty much it. I thank you all so much once again for tuning in. I hope you got something out of this message. And once again, if you like this thing, please be sure to like and follow the Grounded Podcast on whatever platform you listen on, to get into so much more. And as always, y'all, I thank you all so much for tuning into this video. I love each and every one of you, and I will talk to you all very, very soon. All right, y'all be blessed. Take care. My name is Brian Boy, and I'm signing off. Peace.